My name is Arazu. I was born in a small village, surrounded by dusty hills and quiet fields. Life there was simple, mornings filled with the sound of roosters, afternoons with the laughter of children running barefoot, and evenings with the glow of oil lamps. But in that ordinary world, there was one person who made everything extraordinary. Bilal. We grew up together. He was my neighbor, my best friend, and later, the one my heart quietly chose. As children, we raced each other through the fields, climbed apricot trees, and made tiny boats from paper to float in the stream. He always let me win, even when I knew he could run faster. He used to say, "You should always win, Arazu. You were born to shine." I laughed then, not knowing how deeply those words would stay with me. As we grew older, life began to change. The sound of laughter faded under the noise of helicopters and gunfire. Men with guns started walking through our streets, and the sky never felt safe again. Schools closed. Dreams became smaller. But Bilal, he refused to give up. He said he couldn't stand watching innocent people suffer. He wanted to fight for peace. For all of us, the day he told me he was leaving to join the resistance, my world froze. We were sitting under the old walnut tree near the stream. I remember his face, calm but determined. He said, "If I don't go, who will?" I wanted to argue, to beg him to stay, but I couldn't. I saw something in his eyes, courage mixed with fear, and I knew he had already made his choice. That night, I wrote him a letter. I didn't know what to say, so I just wrote from my heart. I told him that the village would be empty without him, that I would pray for him every night, and that I believed he would come back. At the end, I wrote one sentence: "Promise me you'll return. The world can't lose you yet." I folded the letter carefully and kept it hidden until morning. When he came to say goodbye, the sun hadn't fully risen. The mountains were pink with light, and a soft wind moved through the trees. He looked so young in his uniform, too young for war, too brave for peace. I smiled through tears and said, "You better not forget me." He laughed, that same gentle laugh I loved, and said, "Not even if I tried." As he turned to leave, I reached for his hand. My fingers trembled as I slipped the folded letter into the pocket of his jacket. "Don't read it now," I said. "Read it when you miss home." He nodded and walked away without looking back. I stood there until he disappeared behind the hills. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months. I waited. Every time a soldier passed through the village, I ran to ask for news. Sometimes, someone said they'd seen him near the front lines. Other times, no one knew. I started writing him letters every few days, even though I had no way to send them. I wrote about the apricot trees blooming, about the quiet nights, about how the stream still carried our paper boats. Writing kept me alive. Then one cold morning, a military truck stopped near our house. Two men stepped out, carrying something wrapped in a blanket. My heart knew before they spoke. They told me they found him near the border, there had been an ambush. He had fought until the end. They gave me his dog tags, a small notebook, and his jacket. The same one I had touched that morning when I hid the letter. When everyone left, I sat alone and held the jacket close to my chest. It smelled of smoke and dust, and him. My fingers found the inside pocket. The letter was still there, folded neatly, untouched. My handwriting was visible on the outside, blurred by dirt and time. The seal was unbroken. He never read it. I pressed it to my heart and cried until the sun went down. I wanted to open it, to see my words one last time, but something stopped me. That letter wasn't mine anymore. It was his. It belonged to the boy who promised to come back, but never could. In the days that followed, people came to offer condolences. They spoke about courage, sacrifice, honor. But all I could think about was that letter, the one message that never reached him, the one promise left hanging between us. I buried him on a hill overlooking our village. I placed wildflowers on his grave and slipped the letter, still sealed, into the earth beside him. I whispered, "You didn't break your promise. You came back, just not the way I hoped." Years have passed since then. The war has changed faces, but not hearts. I became a teacher, the way Bilal always wanted education to continue. Every morning, when I stand in front of my students, I remember his words. You were born to shine. I teach the children about peace, about courage, about love that survives even after death. Sometimes, in the quiet of evening, I walk to the hill where he rests. The wind always feels colder there. I sit beside his grave and talk to him, as if he could still hear me. I tell him about the children, about the apricot trees, about how the stream still flows. And then I close my eyes and imagine him smiling. People say time heals all wounds, but I think time just teaches us how to live with them. My wound still aches, a quiet ache that reminds me of love, of youth, of promises written but never read.